Hey.
Yo, we're live. Oh, you're wearing your Black Billionaires. I wish I was wearing my Black Billionaires sweatshirt. Ah,
Next week, when we're both wearing these, y'all don't say nothing, okay?
yeah, we'll coordinate next time. But hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Easter if you celebrate.
Happy Resurrection Day, y'all. Oh, y'all know, see, the singing and dancing already started.
Welcome to Hear Us Out by River and Ladi, where we discuss
The music and media blueprint, all things
period.
music, media, how to just navigate.
How to navigate, how to make it happen. You know, we keep it real. So any questions that you have, drop them in the chat.
And we'll be checking. So what's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. Lottie, what are we covering today?
So we are covering a topic that you guys voted for last week with an overwhelming majority. It's about 50% of the votes went to this. So we are talking all about pivoting, the power of the pivot, transitioning into and within the worlds of music and media. This is a good one.
This is a good one. And again, y'all, we're no experts. We just speak from our experience.
That part.
That's why this is a good one for us, because we've both made some pivots every now and then in this industry. So literally quite a few. So let's get into it. So when you think about pivoting for you personally, like what does that actually mean? And why?
Yeah, so pivoting for me is transitioning or making a turn. So like the funny thing about pivots is that they could be really kind of chill, like, oh, a slight left, or very extreme, like a very hard right. So especially varies when you're going from some completely different field into music and media, which is madness, or if you're transitioning within those same industries, just from one role to another. So it could look a number of ways. Both of you and I have pivoted in multiple capacities, but pivoting to me is, and this is a really important subject to discuss, because essentially that's how you allow yourself to explore the depth and breadth of everything that you want within music and media. So it's like, what is the right fit for you? What's the role that makes sense for you at that point in your life or career? Who are the type of people that you want to meet? What are the types of tasks that you want to do? What do you want your day-to-day to look like? And overall, on a more deep level, it's like, what is your purpose in life? All these things can tie into why pivots happen and when pivots happen.
Yeah, no, and I think too, one of the big things to consider about pivoting too is like giving yourself the grace to be okay with it. I think sometimes, especially now when it's like, it feels like we're past that era of like being taught, like go to school, graduate, get a job, work a job, live a life, have a family. Like we're kind of past that. Like I feel like now more than ever, I've been hearing a lot of parents, from like parents of younger children to parents of like high schoolers, be like, I'm all good if you don't go to college. Like I'm all good if you don't do these and this and that.
Girl.
So like the concept of pivoting can be scary depending on how you were raised, I guess, and like the
100%.
principles that your household felt. So I know, like for me, I've pivoted, and I don't even really know that I would use the word pivot. I guess I have to think more on that. Like I just, I mean, I guess, yeah, it was just a change in direction, but I was still on the same path. I'm still on the same path. I just am like, oh, there's another way to get there type of thing. But it was scary. It is scary, because I'm like, well, I was told I was supposed to just do this and this and this, and then all these things will come, whatever. But the pivot says to do something else than that. So you're like, am I supposed to be doing this? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you. And like for me, growing up Nigerian, if anyone here has immigrant parents or knows people who do, or if you're an immigrant yourself, you already know the deal. It's like even wanting to work in music and media, they're like, wait.
Right. Oh wow, yeah. I didn't even think about that till you just pointed that out. Right. Was that was how did that realization come that you wanted to do that, you know?
Well, first of all, I always knew I wanted to make music since I was a little girl. But my parents were like, no, you're too smart. You need to go to college and get a job and save the world. And I'm like, okay. So I went to college in New York. I actually studied engineering, for those who don't know, and not even like audio engineering. It was like, I was like pre-med. It was a whole thing.
I
So
didn't know.
complete,
Hold on.
yeah, yeah. I did a whole 180, dude. And I was, working in consulting in New York, hating my life. And I took a hard left and was like, I'm going to move to LA and do songwriting, and the rest is history. So, you want to talk about pivots? Big one for me.
I am that is a big one. That is a big one.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I hear that pivot a lot. Maybe lately. I don't know if it's lately or if I've heard it a lot since I was in college. I went to school in Boston. So I was actually around a lot more like first generation, or not even just here studying in America.
Right.
And not even just people from the motherland, but like I'm talking Brazil, everywhere, just like first
Right.
generation people in America. Just we had a big BU was like a very big international school. So it was a lot. And so that was the eye-opening moment for me where I realized, like, I started being around a lot of people who were super, super, super incredibly gifted in the like event production space, the event curation space, the networking space, period. Just general hospitality, club ownership, just a lot of those different things that probably weren't conventional when they had to go home and talk about it. And I watched a lot of people make that jump, and I'm like, yo, I think partially that might also, definitely be a factor that I have considered post college, of like when I decided I'm just gonna do something a little different. Um, Thinking back on those moments and being like, yeah, I could just do that. Like I've seen that happen before. People make movies all the time. So that's the cool part, I will definitely say. But you putting it to that perspective, you're like, yeah, I came from engineering and then I was like music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And it's like, I didn't even tell my family for real. I was just like, oh, I actually lied. Hopefully no one watches this, but I had moved. I was just like, oh yeah, I got a job out in California and I can't. Yeah, I totally lied.
she
Totally.
said, hopefully nobody watches
Yeah.
this.
So sometimes you
Hopefully
just
no
gotta
one watches
lie.
this.
No, but in all seriousness, like sometimes you just gotta lie if you make it that jump. Like, I'm sorry, not to advocate that on the Lord's Day, on Easter Sunday. Oh God, forgive me. But sometimes you just gotta lie. I'm sorry. Like, because they're not gonna get it in the beginning. Like, you just gotta let them know what's up after the fact.
I love it. I love it though. It's raw.
Because
It's
who was
authentic.
gonna stop me? I was already out there.
It's
Hello.
authentic. You be honest. You tell me a story. I can't be mad at that. I mean, and the funny part is I'm laughing because I've been in that position, definitely 100%. What? I quit my job that I've had for the last 6 years, the path that I was on in the entertainment industry. Like I worked at a talent agency first, and then a management company, and then another management company. Mind you, I am a trained actor. I trained for acting my whole life, from basically middle school through college. I went to a conservatory acting program. I trained out of the country acting. Like everyone who knew me home, I am an actor. I still get asked every day, when are you going to go back to acting? And I'm like, guys, I didn't leave it. It's not gone. I made a slight pivot.
Yeah.
But all roads still lead back to, where I was.
I like that all roads leading. Right. That's the other thing too. Like for people who are contemplating doing this and who are afraid, it's not as permanent as you might think. Like sometimes it's a little segue and you're like, okay, just kidding. And you go back or whatever, you do something else. It's like, you can pivot multiple times. I feel like I've lived 7 lives in the past.
No, that's true. No, that's 100% true. Like I said, I mean, even then, when I think back on it, childhood me, I grew up, my mom was a multi hyphenate in her own regard, and my dad was in the legal field, paralegal, did some law, just law stuff, and so is my older sister, and another one of my older sisters is also in the like law field, and so my whole life I thought I wanted to be an attorney naturally, and I also I come from the hood, so I only knew what I saw, and
Right.
I didn't fully resonate, with the big screen until I did a freaking Black History program at my elementary school.
Hello.
To see myself on screen playing Diana Ross in the Black History program, and I was like, oh, I can do that because I'm watching myself do that now. And luckily for me, my parents allowed for me to divorce myself from being, I'm going to be an attorney my whole life, to pivot into more creative things. And they just wanted me to get out of the hood just as much as, any parent would, so they were like, yeah,
No, that's real.
and so I think the pivot part, it can be scary, especially when you're doing something that you feel a passion for, but you've never actually maybe done it. Because there's a lot of people who that's their experience. Like, I'm super passionate about music. I'm super passionate about writing, like the writing of movies, scripts. Like, I'm super passionate about it, but I've never written one, and I've never been in a studio to record songs before. But I just know that there's something there. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. I'm not saying just go and, well, I did quit my job and not necessarily have a plan.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. When I told them, and shout out to my 360 fan, when I told them I was leaving, they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm probably just gonna go make art. And everyone was like, okay, yeah, you're okay.
Yeah, we love it. No plan, just vibes. Okay. It'd be like that.
You're going to soar. You're going to soar, but okay. Art. Hey, great. To them it was, pivot there, so yeah, I think that's true. All roads will lead passion. If you follow passion, all roads lead to where your purpose. I believe our purpose is rooted in passion. Like, come on.
Ooh, that's a bar. Our purpose is rooted in passion. And that's also why, like, I had tweeted something about this not too long ago, but I said, encourage children and young people to really pursue their passions. Because from a young age, a lot of the times when you want to do something, and that's why you see the greatest of all time, whether it's Beyonce, Serena Williams, whoever, they started as children, like single digit age children, elementary school. Their parents were just like, we gonna support you, push you. Like,
they saw their kid love to perform. And that's the thing. And that's why shout out to parents for sure on that point. But I have a question after this point that I'm about to make too. One of the things that I realized too, like I just said, while I said I wanted to be an attorney my whole life, it was because my parents were like, she's so animated. And like in the courtroom, that's a stage. There's an audience, there's background, there's characters involved. That's a whole stage. It's a performance, all of it. Not like that, but it is. And so like my parents were like, you want to do what? Oh yeah, she got to do that. Now they didn't have no access to no resources. All they knew was just put her in the free community thing here and the free community thing there. That's what I did. And I just would be in the community thing here and be in the community thing there. But that passion was always there, and they saw, okay, wait a minute, something does track in this. So pay attention to that. Because my question that leading up to this is, do you feel like part of why the pivot happens is because we sit on our passion for so long, and then there's a moment where it catches up?
Yes. No, 1,000,000%. Because like I said, I always knew I wanted to do music, but I was discouraged from that for a lot of reasons. And this is no shade to my parents or anything. Like,
no, but
they wanted the best for me, right? And they were trying to
they could.
And the thing is, the funny thing about this is I actually did like math. I did like science, and I was like,
we're good at it.
So like
one of those, I'm really good at it, but it's
right. Like it made sense. But at the end of the day, it's like, just because you're great at something doesn't mean that that's the thing that you need to be doing, or it doesn't mean that that's your life purpose, right? So I think for me, it's like I had always known deep down that music was such an integral part of who I was, and that I wanted that to be an integral part of what I did career-wise. And so it just got to a point where I was just like, I can't not pursue it. Like, no matter how scared I am, no matter how little sense it makes, no matter how few connections I have, even if I don't know what I'm doing, it's like, I got to figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Take a chance.
On yourself. It's about
shoot your shot on yourself, y'all.
Shoot your shot on yourself. Hold on.
All roads. What did I say?
What?
All roads lead to, come on now. Our show is linear in that way. And this is, y'all voted for this. So that's the crazy part. But yeah, like that's tight.
Shoot your shot on yourself. Come on.
yourself. Because that pivot, especially if you're pivoting into the thing that you're like, I don't want to say, I know this is so cliche. We hear it in school all the time. Like, if you're scared of it, do it thing. But that doesn't always
real
apply.
though. It's
that
real.
doesn't always apply. Sometimes you maybe should follow
yes,
that.
Yeah.
But in the times where it does apply, it's like, if you're scared of it because you don't have experience, or because you've never done it before, or because you're around a lot of people who are already doing the thing that you have passion about, but they're like, quote unquote, better at it. So then you're like, I'm not really that. Or
a lot of people who are telling you not to do the thing.
Or that. Or everyone is like, no, you shouldn't do that. You should stay at this and this and that. All of those things are like, we're going to talk about it. We keep saying we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, but that is connected to that. That, like, if you feel the itch to like kind of go a different direction, pay attention to it. I'm not saying just go jump immediately and not even, again, I did that, but that's just that was my path.
Right.
But like, pay attention to it, because that could be the moment where you realize, oh, I might be needing to pivot right now. I should maybe follow that, because purpose is rooted in passion. And if you feel the passionate tug, you might want to do that.
Preach, Pastor. Preach. And I'm really glad that we started off the convo this way, but we definitely want to give you all some tips and tricks on like how to make the pivot happen. Because for real, there's two types of pivots, right? There's pivoting into music and media from God knows where, and there's pivoting within music and media. So obviously the first is a lot harder than the second. So we'll tackle the first. And again, that's something that I know from personal experience, and Rhyver knows. It's like law, medicine, unrelated fields. Unrelated fields. But through using, transferable skills, your network, and also any types of like side hustles and passion projects, that makes it a lot easier to do. Mm-hmm. So like for me personally, when I first moved to LA, again, didn't really have a network like that out there. I was just going to every single event. When I tell you I was going to events 3 to 5 nights a week at minimum, this is pre-COVID, 2018, I moved out there. I was making sure I was meeting everyone, talking to people, getting phone numbers, getting Instagrams, going to shows, going to events, conferences, whatever. If you're really passionate about entering a certain field, you need to surround yourself with people who are in that field. And if you don't know them, find them. The best way to find a lot of them at once is events. A lot of events, especially in LA, are free. You just gotta go. You can search on Eventbrite. You can search hashtags on Twitter and Instagram. There are so many ways to do it. Tap in.
To truly do the research too. And I know obviously that does sound easier said than done, because there's the whole like, what am I gonna say? What do I have to contribute? I'm just learning, I'm trying to figure out what this pivot even means. I just want to acknowledge those people who may have that thought right now, like, okay, y'all are telling me to go out there, but like, that's a big task to just go put myself out there. But again, the best thing you can do in those moments, for me personally, if I feel like I don't have, if I can't get it together enough emotionally to go through in those moments that Ladi's talking about, I just listen. I just pay attention and I just listen while I'm in those rooms, so I can kind of get at least a feel for like, okay, how are things done maybe? How do these interactions work? How does this industry work? How do people connect in this industry? Because that is actually different. I'm noticing industry by industry, it's not necessarily always the same as it pertains to how you approach certain things. So I would just go to these types of events and pay attention until you can get yourself to that point where you're
That is such a great point you just made, Rhyver, because honestly, like, you can go to these events and not talk to a single person, but just being in the room and absorbing can do a lot.
Yeah, you can get a lot from that. Like, you learn a lot. And then again, we've talked about this in previous episodes before, but being a familiar face goes a long, and I've noticed that happen to me as of late, because I took a jump and I didn't have a company anymore. before when I was networking, before I started this pivot of into entrepreneurship and away from corporate, I had a corporate company that kind of would break the ice for me. I work at da da da, I work at da da da, or I work on this person's team or that person's team, and that already is like a conversation starter in itself. But now that I don't have that, it is harder sometimes to just be like, but you got to push through that if you're at that place, and if not, soak it all in, like pay attention, like, because then people are gonna be like, oh, I saw you at this thing, I saw you
That
at that.
part. And here's the other thing too. Don't be afraid to say that you're new. You could just be like, this is my third
Event.
time going to a music industry event. I just moved here. That's a conversation starter, because then people want to know, oh, where'd you come from? What made you come out here? It's like, people know that takes a lot of courage to do that. So don't take that, like, because I definitely was using that as my icebreaker. I was like, yo, I just got here last week, and they're like, damn, girl.
Oh, you already out, but you're serious
Actually,
about it.
so no, true story. When I first moved to LA, that same night that I hit the pavement, I went to a networking event. It was Past the Aux by Illmind.
Oh
I
yeah.
walked, and I was late. I walked in like 30 minutes late. Yo, sorry, I just got to LA like 2 seconds ago. And they were like, what? And Illmind was like, yo, I already know that you're gonna be hella successful, because the fact that you just got here and you're at an event, like, I already know you got the passion, you got the drive. So that alone could do it.
Right place, right time type of thing.
Sure. But the other thing is, when it comes to networking, and as we've discussed before, it's not just IRL. A lot of things are done online. So you already know what Twitter Spaces, LinkedIn has their own types of talks. We know about Clubhouse, IG Live. There's so many opportunities to be able to connect with things. Like, there are some really great communities as well that you can plug into digitally, and they also have their IRL activation. So for me, love the Digilog, love Finesse Media, love Kayvon's house. If you don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to DM at Hey Hear Us Out, and we'll send y'all everything. But a lot of these communities are so great because they allow people who are basically new, or rising executives, rising creatives, to get plugged in. So tap in. Also plug, I have a Twitter community that y'all can check out. So you better do it. If you're not in it, you should be in it. I'm just saying. It's big as hell too. It's like 1,000 people in there. It's big.
For real? Congrats.
Yeah.
That's fire. What? I'm proud. Look.
And that's also where I'm the first to share things. Like, seriously, like, when you plug into communities, you'll be the first to know about stuff. When there's jobs and there's internships and events, like, so you even get to be more of an insider than if you were just to research on your own. The communities are really important. So if you could plug in.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, to anyone who may be watching this and is currently in one position in the entertainment industry, and you're trying to get into another position in the entertainment, as in music, media, all TV, all of that stuff in the entertainment industry. There are a lot of what Ladi's calling communities, and that side we call like the tracking boards and all of that. Like, the more people that you network with, the better, because then you get added into some of those, and that's where a lot of the insight is going about where the industry is moving, who's doing what and how. That'll let you know too a lot of different opportunities that are even open. Like, I'm on so many tracking boards that literally people will post opportunities, like, and it doesn't matter. Well, it could be Interscope is looking for an assistant. It could be Tyler Perry Studios is looking for a coordinator. It could be anything, and that helps you to be able to pivot. So keep that in mind. Like, start asking around to, any current coworkers or something that you may have. If you're trying to pivot into a different side of the industry, there are ways to get that info for sure.
Wait, so where do we find these tracking boards, and how do we join? Asking for me, but also asking for them.
A lot of them are on, so a lot of them are on Slack, and it really is kind of like an invitation type of thing. But Slack is on the TV film side, and even some on the corporate music side too. Like, Slack is a big, like, you will get joined into a Slack channel, and it'll have all the Slack. I guess it's called the channel, right? And then it has all the other channels like Discord. But just less complicated. And they, like, disperse a lot of different information. So again, that's the reason why I say if you're in the industry trying to figure out how to like make some pivots within it, try and find out from your network who can add you to a tracking board or something of the sort. There's also Facebook.
Very interesting.
Don't discount Facebook groups. Like there are Facebook groups that have whole communities of like entertainment industry assistants, entertainment industry coordinators, entertainment industry, like all type of stuff. And you can join those and they're just thousands of people in them, like just dispersing information. There's a lot, but you only find out about this kind of stuff. You do have to like kind of start asking some questions, figuring out like, okay, if you're trying to pivot into an industry and you're not quite sure if you want to make the jump yet, for example, I would recommend, seeing who you may already have in your network that may be in that industry, even if they're not in the position you want, but they're just in the industry, like reaching out to them and asking them about their journey / who are the key players that you should know. Like, sometimes you do kind of have to put yourself out there in your own network if you're trying to like learn about something new, because you want to be able to pick somebody's brain about like, okay, how should I go about this? Like, I know you're an attorney in TV film, but can you talk to me a little bit about the agency life? Because I'm trying to be an agent. Or,
we love a good informational interview, and it don't take more than 15 minutes. It really don't. And honestly, and again, like, bet on yourself, shoot your shot. But if you're a little on the cautious side, for the shy people out here, follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram. The cool thing that I like about Instagram and Twitter is that you can make like lists. So Twitter, they're called lists. Instagram, they're called collections. That's how I keep track of a lot of industry people. I'm like,
me
okay,
too.
these are the A&Rs. These are the playlist curators. These are the marketers. I keep track. Because like if you want to keep up with what they're doing and like want to be able to tap in intelligently, you need to keep track. There's no other way, right? And sometimes you don't even want to follow because you don't want it to be too conspicuous. So then you'll make like these lists, which can be private.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say too, like, sometimes too, just remember that like being authentic is the best way to go. Like, you know what I'm saying? We talked about this before where it's like, don't be quick to just try and place expectations on what the relationship could be before you even try and cultivate some form of communication with them, so but also don't be intrusive when it comes to those things. Like try and at least get reconnected if you have somebody in your network that you're trying to tap so you can find out more about their industry because that's where you're trying to pivot. Try and like actually find out, like just hit them up just to see how they're doing first, you know what I mean? And then go into all of those things. But to Ladi's point though, one of the cool part about the like information like interview type of vibe is that it also allows for you to really like put it out there, this is what you're interested in, and they may be willing to help you figure some things out. You never know what could come on the other side of it. And everything, it's funny that we started it out by saying all roads are connected. Everything is connected. Like, don't count somebody out if you're like, oh, you don't do what I want to do though. Like everything in this industry, like it's a domino.
It's
like
every like half a degree of
connected.
separation. It's actually nuts.
Yeah. So like it'll help if you know anybody, like it'll help. They can at least give some insight. And if they don't, maybe they can connect you to somebody else who can be more suited to help you with that. But definitely like think about, before you just make that jump, do some more research, like treat it like, because this is going to be a thing, you know what I mean? I'm not saying ignore your passion, obviously, yeah, do it, but make sure you're at least a little bit more informed about how things work before you just go.
And just to piggyback off that point, a lot of the ways that you can know how anything happens is obviously one, by doing your research, but two, just start trying stuff out. It's like, you don't need to be in an official job or internship or apprenticeship position to start doing the work of the things that you think you want to do. Do some research on what the responsibilities of those roles are. Just start. A lot of times you got to start doing it for free, to be honest. Like if you're like, oh, I want to be a manager, or I think I want to be a manager, reach out to some local artists that you like. You've been pulling up to their shows, maybe you've seen them, you think they're fire, DM them, be like, yo, I want to try out managing you. Try it out for free for a couple of months and see how you like it. Maybe that can become an official thing. The same thing for playlisting, right? It's like, oh, I want to be a playlist curator. Anyone can make a playlist. You got you a title account or whatever it is, make a playlist, put a pretty cover on it, tweet the link, tag the artists that are in it. That's how you share and get your name out. It's like, you don't need to be in an official position to do things.
You just have to start, and then you have to try, and then you have to learn. You have to be willing to get the education. So it's like, to your point, Ladi, that is true. That is correct. One of the reasons why I even pivoted into the corporate side of entertainment after graduating from theater school, essentially, was because I sat in some meetings, and I was in New York. I was going to do the New York thing, and I sat in some meetings, and I was like, okay, I'm in these manager agent meetings. What is happening? And I didn't understand it. So that's why I was like, I feel like I don't understand what is happening here. Let me go and try and learn about what their job is before I have to try and employ one. Like, how am I going to employ somebody and I don't even know what they're supposed to do? Because that's what you would be doing as an artist. If you're hiring a manager or an agent, you're employing them. Same with the attorney. Like, they get paid from you. So like, before I employ somebody, let me at least try to understand what their job
I
is,
like that perspective.
so it's the
The
same
reverse
concept
research.
here.
That's smart.
Yeah. My whole point being, it's the same concept here. Like, you're going to go into it, you know what I'm saying? Go for it. Go ahead, manage somebody. But at the same time, Lottie gave a really good example. I can't remember which episode it was, but how she identified a female manager that she really resonated with and is inspired by. And she reached out and let that person know, like, hey, I'm inspired by, this and that. And thank you for your contributions and this and that, gave them their flowers, basically. Like, reach out to other managers and say, hey, I'm a new manager and I want to learn how to really advocate on in the best way on behalf of my client. We're a team, this and that, hear what my clients' dreams, ambitions, passions are. How can I be best serving them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously that comes from building the relationship, networking, cultivating, like we've been talking about. But once you get to that point, arm yourself with the resources that you need to get your job done. It's okay to pivot. You're going to learn either way it goes.
You're gonna learn either way, but if
So
you
it's either you're
learn
going to learn from
directly from
trying,
people who do it, do it
you
while
know,
you're also doing it.
yeah, you might as well learn from trying, learn from doing. I love that you said that that was your approach when you transitioned into music. You was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm moving to LA and I'm going to figure it out. First step,
That I
I'm gonna go
did.
to this event. I just got here. I'm gonna just go to this event. I'm supposed to be figuring it out. This sounds like something I should try. I'm gonna throw something at the wall, see what sticks. It could bust. Okay, then I'll go to another event. You
That
know?
part.
Yeah, I love it.
That part. And I think the other thing to realize is that when you are doing things on your own, document that stuff, whether that's posting to social, on your website, having some sort of portfolio, creating like a resume. You want to have the proof of concept that even though I haven't been employed by a Netflix or a Spotify or wherever else, I still have the capability to do these things. Let me show you what I've done on my own. That makes a huge statement. That's powerful. So document everything.
I love that. That was a good one. That was a good one. I'm glad you said that. Super
We in
glad
the
you-
social media age, honey. Like, unfortunately, if it don't exist somewhere online, it didn't happen. It's just the way it is. And it doesn't have to be a TikTok. Like, it could be a LinkedIn post. It could be a newsletter. There are different ways to document things, but there has to be a record that the things happened.
In your own way. It doesn't always have to be public.
Right.
You can have your own private blog that
Mm-hmm.
posts things too. You can have
And then
your
maybe you only send that blog link when you're applying
when you
for
need
jobs.
to.
Like,
Everything doesn't always have to be public. That's not what we're saying either. Like, when you need to, but we're basically saying build a portfolio is essentially.
build a
Networking
portfolio.
is still, you're building a portfolio there too. You know what I mean? Like, when you speak on panels, when you do all these different things, like, track that, keep log of it somewhere. It don't have to be
Somewhere.
public, or it can be.
Right.
I love that.
Right.
Tip.
And then that also helps with the transferable skills, because if you have all that on your resume or somewhere, when you're pivoting into a new industry for these types of roles, if you've done marketing for a tech company, you could do marketing for music. Like, a lot of those same skill sets are the same. It's just about understanding the specifics of the landscape, but you have the hard skills, a lot of them already.
For sure. I'm looking at the chat. Okay.
Do we have any questions, by the way? Do we see any? I don't see anything on Twitter.
No, just on Twitch. Emotional Taco was like, I didn't think about Facebook. I'm like, yeah, we be counting Facebook
These
out.
Facebook groups, don't sleep on the Facebook groups. I'm
College
telling
made
you.
me get into the Facebook groups. It was like a part of our curriculum. We did everything in Facebook groups.
Facebook groups are where it's at. They still go strong. So don't there's WhatsApp groups, there's Telegram groups.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we had mentioned Discord. Like there's so a lot of the things that you're looking for, they in chats. They not just out here, they are in the chats. Get in the chats. Seriously.
But yeah, if there are any questions, I feel like we've covered a lot of different. I'm trying to think.
Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns?
It's the singing for me. She's just herself, y'all. I love it. We be singing and dancing on here.
Gotta be having a good time. Don't be shy. Feel free to drop them in the chat.
I love it. But yeah.
If you like it, I love it. Do we have any last words or closing statements?
Honestly, y'all, follow your passion. That's mine. Follow your passion. You know, if you feeling like the passion is tugging on your heart, but it's a whole different situation, before you just throw it away, just noodle on it a little bit, as they say, you know, give it attention. That's all. That's all.
You will never regret trying, but you will regret not. That's all I gotta say. A lot of times when people have regrets, they're like, I wish I had just taken the chance. It hurts, honestly. It hurts to not take a chance on your own self. If you don't believe in you, who's gonna believe in you?
Shoot your shot on yourself.
That's my favorite statement of the entire day. Shoot your shot on yourself.
Yeah, you gotta shoot your shot on yourself, y'all.
That's always worth it. It's always worth it.
It is. All right, y'all. Y'all know where to find us again next week, right? Right here. We gonna be back next week.
Listen, and also, if y'all ain't following us everywhere, you better follow us everywhere at Hey Hear Us Out. And that's on Twitter, that's on Instagram, that's on YouTube, everywhere, okay? And make sure you're signed up to get the reminders for episodes. Also, when we have any sort of giveaways and whatnot, that's only for people who have signed up via the Laylo link. So if you haven't done it, you better do it or else you miss out.
We love it. We love it.
Watch out for our Twitter. We're gonna do a poll on what next week's episode should be.
Oh yes, I love that.
And you guys let us know what you most want to discuss, and we will discuss it.
Okay, I'm excited to see what y'all pick.
Yeah, this is a good one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I do. This is cool. This is a good one. Love it. Love it. All right, y'all. Happy Sunday. Enjoy time with your family if you can.
Bye.